Greetings, my dear friends. Dragon here once again, and it is Eastern Heroes time. A new shipment just in this morning from Rick, and this is one that I've been waiting for a little while. Coming in a little bit of a giveaway yellow envelope. This is the 5th Bruce Lee special, Game of Death. Now this originally came out as a hardback edition. This is the kind of re-released softback edition, which is still available from Eastern Heroes. Comes still with quite a few goodies, which we'll take a little look at together, but largely focuses on Alan Canvan's Game of Death Redux, the new edit of the film. A cut down version of you can see on the Criterion box set. In tribute, I am wearing my Game of the Death full jumpsuit, naturally, with matching yellow sneakers. You'll just have to take my word for that. Nah, it's just a t-shirt, guys. But yeah, excited to get into this one. Game of Death, quite a guilty pleasure for me. Far from being Bruce's best movie, but I think that last reel, so much potential really in that Pagoda sequence, and so it's great that it's kind of living on through the Redux and kind of through the recut versions of it, so you can kind of see a little bit more of what he had in mind for the film. And also I think there's still quite a lot of fun to be had in the very strange cut together bastardized version of Game of Death that we did get, the full length version in Game of Death 2, which is in Tower of Death, which there's a lot of good stuff in too. So I think there's still quite a lot of stuff to get excited and get interested about in those two movies, but the magazine I'm excited to take a little look through. Let's go through our little goodies first. So we get this glorious little wee envelope with Bruce with a bit of bamboo. Inside we get a re-release of Toby Russell's Death by Misadventure documentary. Very, very cool to kind of get another copy of that, one that I have not seen for years. And we also get some really nice printed onto proper photos, these kind of little wee photo cards, all in black and white. Bruce there, a wonderful James Tien, Dan in the Santo, and of course Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, pretty fantastic. And then the poster, which I briefly showed you, the Redux poster, and then our magazine itself. So I was meant to be in this. I don't know why my article didn't quite make the cut. I suspect Rick is going to do some investigating, so even though it didn't go into this issue, it will go into a future issue. I did a little article that was looking at other appearances of the yellow jumpsuit, which would have been cool to see, but even without me, it's still pretty glorious. Let's take a little look. So we get Rick's introduction here, and then we get a dive into a big long-form interview with Alan Canvan, the producer behind the Game of Death Redux, which has kind of gone back to all the footage that was uncovered of Lee's plans and what he did shoot for the kind of the final section, for the Pagoda section. Kind of puts it back together again, longer than we've previously seen. I think this is the Redux cut longer than the one that is on the Criterion box set, and so Rick does a really great deep dive interview with Alan and speaks about how that project came to light, how it differs from the previous version that we'd all seen on the Hong Kong Legends DVD box set back in the day, which I think was the first time I ever saw that all kind of cut together. He speaks about the project intercut with a whole bunch of shots and comparisons between some of the different gradings and things that they have done for the Redux version, along with loads and loads of shots from the Pagoda section, some of Bruce's original notes. Very, very cool. And then we have a picture of Alan visiting Bruce Lee's grave in Seattle. And then voicing the game with Alan Cameron and Chris Kent, who voiced Bruce Lee in the original cut together version of the Pagoda sequence, my first iteration of the Redux. Oh, some great lobby cards for Game of Death here. And we get Rick's review of the Redux version, including kind of some screenshot comparisons showing some of the differences in the footage from the artport version and the Redux version. Very, very cool. Character notes about the kind of the main cast. And then the excerpts from Alan Cameron's Game of Death script. Again, intercut with some great shots, behind the scenes shots of Bruce at the time. Then we get a wonderful photo gallery. Again, looking at lots of little sections from the Pagoda sequence. Bruce with his nunchucks. When I was in Hong Kong, the Bruce Lee exhibition was running, and got a chance to see the original jumpsuit that he wore in the movie, and we got a very quick sneaky shot before we were chased away by the ushers because they were trying to discourage people from taking photos. But they'd done a little kind of reproduction section of this part of the pagoda, and had his jumpsuit in pride of place in the centre. It was very cool to see. One of my favourite Hong Kong memories. Awesome shots from that section. Behind the scenes. Pretty awesome. And more behind the scenes. Bruce Green and Raymond Chow. Awesome. And some of Michael Nisbet's memorabilia, so a few different kind of Game of Death related covers from different issues over the years. From the Fighters magazine, some Chinese publication from the Dan and Santo Academy, in Japanese. Extremely cool. Has anyone ever looked as cool in a onesie as Bruce looks in Game of Death? I do not think so. A few more different magazines from Karate Magazine. Japanese press flyers and books. Very cool to see, and these things are always a treat for me, really, because trying to track down these originals is so expensive, so to kind of be able to kind of get a chance of seeing the memorabilia all together in one place is kind of one of the highlights of the magazines that Rick's been putting together. It's been really wonderful having all these things in one place for each film, and kind of this incredible kind of resource to dive into. Wonderful stuff. Great. Then we get an extract from a City on Fire conversation with Alan Canvan, conducted by J.G. Bona, which kind of gives a slightly different perspective on Alan's intentions with Redux. Very cool. And that is it. That is your Game of Death special. Let me know if it's one that you're tracking down. I think Rick does still have them available. I will leave links down below to the website. They were made in limited quantities, so do jump on it fast if you want to track it down. The hardback one I think is long sold out now. But if you get in there quick and you get it from the Eastern Heroes website, then you should still be able to get the extra little goodies as well. It will also be available on Barnes & Noble and Amazon. So again, I'll leave all the links down to that below. But thank you very much for joining me for this today. I'll see you on the next one. Be water, my friends.